Hello bookish besties, and welcome back to my channel. This is my third time filming this video. Third time's the charm. I got a new microphone and I just figured out how it works. I had this whole thing filmed. I went to go edit it and there was no audio. So I hope the audio is good now. We'll get into today's video. I'll be tier ranking every single book that I read in 2024, and that is a whopping 57 books. I'm actually pretty proud of this number. So let's get into the video. We're gonna go over the tiers. I'm going to screen record so you guys can see what I'm doing. First category, that is our God tier category, is Bury Me With It. Pop this bad boy in my grave. Pop it in the casket with me while you're at it. I want to be buried with it and I'm going to be happy about it. The second tier is In My Heart and In My Brain, rent free. It has a piece of my heart. It has a piece of my brain. I think about these books way too often and I'm not even mad about it. Then we have just I Had a Good Time. It was fun. It's like your chill 3-star read. You had a great time. It's nothing special. You probably won't think about it too much, but it's still there. Then you have Meh. It's just meh. It was there. You read it. You didn't DNF it. It wasn't the worst thing you've ever read. And then we have Please Help Me Forget It. And that is going to be a category where you'll see some of these books that I want help forgetting. It basically is the books that I want to open my brain and scrub it clean from the memories. Just didn't vibe with me, or it was absolutely atrocious, and there are some books on this list that are that bad. Starting off strong, we are going to be looking at Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. This one is In My Heart and Brain, rent free. I love Ronan Sloane. I loved the entire dark romance rom-com mashup, and I loved the banter and everything that this book stood for, but I just don't think it's good enough to say bury me with it. I think about it a lot, but I think it's just In My Heart and Brain, rent free. Then we're moving on to Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. So this one's gonna go into the meh category because I didn't necessarily have a good time with it. I mean, I don't even remember anything about the male main character. I don't remember anything about the female main character. I think it's Marriage of Convenience, but I do not remember that well. Then we're gonna go to The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren. This one's gonna go In My Heart and Brain, rent free, because I feel like I think about these email chains all the time. So basically these two main characters start emailing each other accidentally and then they continue it every Valentine's Day, and the emails are so good and the banter's so good. I had such a good time with this one and I do think about it a lot. Then we have Drop Cover and Hold On, and this one is going to the Please Help Me Forget It. This one was so bad. The main female character talks about food for like the first 5 minutes and it was not good. It was just kind of annoying, and then they like do it during like an earthquake and it was weird. It didn't work for me. Then we have Daisy Jones and the Six. So that is going into Bury Me With It because this book is literally so good. The first time I read it was physically, then I audiobooked it for a reread and I loved it so much. The interview format was phenomenal. The sex, drugs, rock and roll. I love the 70s. I'm a rock and roll girly. This was just phenomenal to me. The drama, the vibes, everything was perfect. 10 out of 10. I loved the music that they came out with as well. And then the show was just perfection. Then we're gonna go to My Roommate is a Vampire. This one's gonna go in I Had a Good Time because I really did. I remember like having a good time when she was like really confused why her roommate had no like utensils, no pots and pans, no food, and then she finds like the blood bags in the fridge. So like I had a really fun time with this, and Reggie was so funny. I am excited to check out the next one because that is Reggie's the main character, so I'm like, very excited for that one. Then we have Royal Valentine. This one's going into meh because I don't really remember anything about it. I just know that there was a royal and she wanted to have like a regular day out, Valentine's, whatever, and it was just okay. Then With Any Luck by Ashley Poston. This one's also gonna go in meh because I cannot remember a single thing about it. That's all I have to say. I'm pretty sure her last name was Luck and like they had luck in everything but love. Then we have Our Worst Wingman Ever. I'm gonna go with I Had a Good Time for this one. I can't remember much about it. I remember I think the main male character, he had his brother leave like a note on a girl's car and it was for like a free something inappropriate, but he left it on the wrong girl's car, so it was just like a funny mix-up. And we have Rosie and the Dreamboat. I'm gonna put this one in I Had a Good Time as well, because she's stuck in this like sensory deprivation pod, and she like insta-love falls in love with like a firefighter or something, but their banter back and forth was cute, and I just really enjoyed the writing. Then None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. We're gonna put this in meh, because I liked the way the audiobook was set up, where like there was like an ongoing like mixed media podcast going on throughout the entire thing, and it actually sounded like a podcast and like different interviews and stuff, and a documentary was going on about it. But I didn't like the twist, and I didn't wind up liking the ending, and I have to have a good twist and ending in order to like a book. So Ends With Us is also going in meh. I am not a Colleen Hoover girly. I read Verity and I enjoyed it, but I read it Ends With Us because I wanted to see what the hype was about, and I wanted to see if I wanted to watch the movie, and I read it and I just didn't like anything about it. I only like the part where she basically decides to have a better future with her daughter, but the rest of it was just not good. It Starts With Us is also going into meh. Again, I just audiobooked this one because I audiobooked the first one, and I was like, might as well just get them both over with. It just didn't do anything for me. My biggest disappointment of the year is Sarah J. Maas's House of Flame and Shadow. I went to midnight release for this one, and I was thoroughly disappointed with the book, so it's going into I Had a Good Time, even though it should be in the Bury Me With It category, realistically, for Sarah J. Maas with me, but she's only getting an I Had a Good Time because Rowan and Lydia carried the story. Everything else was a giant mess. Half the thing was a cave simulator. We did not get the crossover we deserved. It was just a hot mess, honestly. And we have Pucking Around. Y'all know it's going into Bury Me With It, because bury me with all three of those men, bury me with Rachel, just give me everything about them and I'm fine. I'm just obsessed. Their found family, the spice in it was amazing. Everything was so good. The amount of hockey that was in it, it renewed my love for hockey, so forever grateful for that book. Pucking Ever After is going into I Had a Good Time. I don't ever really think about it. It's just the epilogue novellas to Pucking Around. They have kids. It's more of their found family. So while I enjoyed it, it's not the best thing ever. Catherine Center's Hello Stranger. That's going into I Had a Good Time, because I did have a good time. It's about a self-portrait artist that develops facial blindness, and so she's going through her career trying to do that, trying to win an award or a contest, and trying to navigate her love life with two different men. I really like when I get to be immersed in another profession that I'm not familiar with, so this was fun, but I don't think about it at all. Flawless is also going into I Had a Good Time. Summer and Rhett are adorable. I love Summer's relationship with her dad, and I love Rhett. He's a super sexy, typical cowboy. Love cowboys. I really love the line, "Where the Hat Ride the Cowboy." That was phenomenal. Betting on You is gonna go into meh. While I did have a good time with this one, it just wasn't obviously made for me. It was too YA, and I think I wanted more from it that it couldn't give. I also just think that betting whether your best friend's gonna cheat on her boyfriend is not a good look. I can see why high schoolers swoon over it and think it's a fun time, but it wasn't for me. Then we go into The Troop by Nick Cutter. This was like my first ever horror book, like true horror. I really enjoyed it. I started delving into horror in 2024, and I'm excited to dig deeper in 2025. But I had a good time with this one. It is basically biological warfare, but I did not like that it involved teenage boys. Whenever you get like a teenager involved in a horror, it makes it so much more sad for me, but especially when like they don't deserve it. So that made me upset, and it was very gory and gruesome, but I did have a good time with it. The Honeymoon Crashers is going into I Had a Good Time. This was such a step up from The Unhoneymooners, which I hated with my whole heart, but this one was fun. It's an audiobook exclusive, or it was. It might not be anymore. I enjoyed the writing. It was very fun, very quick. I liked the female main character. We got to see her in the other book as well. And then the male main character in this was so fun, and I loved the island vibes. Then we have Never Lie by Frida McFadden. It was, I guess, an enjoyable thriller. It was very fast-paced, but again, didn't like the twist, didn't like the ending. So any thriller that I don't like the twist or the ending, it's going into like meh. But I realize I do not like Frida McFadden. I have another one of her books on here, but I hated that one. So she's definitely not for me. I didn't see the ending coming, but I just didn't like it. Then we have A Little Life. That's going in my heart and brain rent-free. It deserves all of the praise it gets. It was beautifully written. The prose was gorgeous. The story is heartfelt and meaningful. And I know it's trauma dumpy, but it was just rehashing a life that was full of trauma, which unfortunately does happen. And I feel like these characters are real, and I do think about them very often. So I do really love that book. The Fall of Bradley Reed. This one was really fun. I had a good time with this one, so that's where it's going. An FBI agent falls in love with the girl he's watching that got left at the altar. I really loved the female main character. I related to her a lot and her people-pleasing tendencies that she's trying to break. And I really liked the male main character, and his intervening was funny as hell. Then we're on to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and this one's going in my heart and brain rent-free. The first time I listened to it was on audiobook, and then I bought the physical copy to do a reread before the show came out. Then I watched the show, and I'm just in love with Pippa and Ravi and the entire story. I know it's not realistic for a teenager to be running around doing all those crazy things, but I think that the mystery is really good, and I also think that the way the pacing was done is really good, and the unraveling of the story as well. We're gonna go to Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This one I had a good time with. It's just a fun mafia romance, not too dark. I loved Callum and Ada together. The rivalry between the two mafia families was great, and then I really loved the stakes in this book. The stakes were so high. I loved it so much. Then we go Not Another Love Song. This is going to be in my heart and brain rent-free because that cello scene is rent-free. I'm telling you. It was so steamy. I loved it. And I was a band kid in high school, so I completely was immersed in this world of music with them. I loved Xander, his feisty personality for a male main character, and I liked the female main character as well. Then we go Home Is Where the Bodies Are. That one's gonna go into I Had a Good Time. It was very short, very quick read, and I mean, I figured it out 2 pages in who did it, but it was fun to see the parents' story unraveling through the videotapes and through the different eyes of the children. Leather and Lark is going in my heart and brain rent-free. I loved Lark. Her grandmother was my favorite character of all of them. Lachlan was amazing too. Their nicknames for each other got me, their banter got me, and I liked the marriage of convenience for this one. Then we're moving on to Spookily Yours. This one's gonna be I Had a Good Time. She's a witch and she finds a demon cat, or it's just a regular cat, and it winds up being a demon. She transforms him and they fall in love. It was just a really cute short Halloween book. I loved it. A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows. This one's going into meh. It was too typical for me. It really was not a good fantasy romance. I was very upset. I was hoping it was going to be, but it was not. It was too typical, too cliche, too insta-love. Too many of those, you know, cringy, eye-rolling lines that we find in some fantasy romance. It was not good. I wanted to be giggling and kicking my feet, and instead I was rolling my eyes. So then we have The Teacher by Frida McFadden. This one's going to Please Help Me Forget It because there was cheating. There was young children in this, like not young children, but like high schoolers, children. It was gross, and I wish I could scrub my brain free of it. Then we have Two Can Play. This is an audiobook exclusive from Ali Hazelwood. This is going into I Had a Good Time. So 2 video game designers from rival companies go on a picturesque winter retreat to a cabin for, it's like a work bonding retreat, and I really enjoyed being immersed in the world of video game design. It was very fun. I feel like I got to learn a lot even of just like something that's my hobby. I really had a good time with that one. Then we have Murder Road. I'm gonna put this one as I had a good time as well. So this couple is like kind of pulled to this town, this road that has a nickname of Murder Road, and hitchhikers that are going to a specific beach get picked up and are murdered, and they wind up picking up one of the girls that's hurt, taking her to the hospital, and a paranormal tale unfolds from there. But the good one with this one is it developed that it was paranormal from the beginning, so it wasn't just a freaky one-off paranormal twist. It was meant to be that way the entire time. And then another paranormal one was The Haunting of Ashburn House. This one's also going into Had a Good Time. I really like Darcy Coates. This is about a girl. She inherits a house from an aunt that passes away that she never knew she had. So she inherits this house, and there are these creepy things scratched all over, like, is it Friday, light the candle, all this stuff. And again, it develops that it's paranormal from the beginning. It was creepy and grotesque, and the sounds she could make you hear through her writing was phenomenal. So I really enjoyed that one. Phantasma, this one's going into In My Heart and Brain Rent-Free. So I know a lot of people don't like this one. I know it was a letdown for a lot of people, but to me it was so fun. The OCD rep was phenomenal. When I tell you, I was literally that main character, I'm telling you. So for those of you that don't know or have never watched my channel before, I have OCD, so this was nice to see a character with OCD that is represented well. I loved the gringy New Orleans vibes. I loved the different types of ghouls and ghosts and witches and paranormal beings. I loved Blackwell. I really enjoyed that the trials had actual stakes in them, and the ending was corny, but we live and we learn, you know. It would have been in Bury Me With It if the ending wasn't so bad. Another Darcy Coates, Where He Can't Find You. I'm going to go into I Had a Good Time with this one. This is about a group of teenagers. One of them goes missing, but there's this tale around town since they were little that, like, if you stay out at night, the Stitcher will get you. And it's this serial killer that they can't catch, that, you know, you find red thread, and it's a bunch of bodies cut up and sewn back together in weird ways, or all together, all different bodies. So it was very creepy, but it was very good. Again, developed that it was paranormal from the beginning and had a very interesting paranormal ending. Next, we're going to Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I love this one. It's going in my brain and heart, or my heart and brain rent-free. This one was so phenomenal. The whimsy she creates through her words. The world she creates is so whimsical, beautiful. The game was phenomenal. I love the sisters. I love all the twists and turns and the mystery. It was just such a good story. It's like so fairy tale-esque. I love it. We'll go to Carving for Kara. This one is meh. It's very dark romance. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because it's too dark romance. It's too dark to talk about. Please read your trigger warnings before you read this one. I really wanted to enjoy it more for the Halloween time because it is like Halloween-esque. I did like this one, but I wanted to like it a lot more. Then its sequel, Little Nightmare. I wish I could forget it for forever. There are things that I read that I do not want to read. I gagged reading this. It was disgusting. And yeah, the eyes are the best part. Bury Me With It. Bury Me With It. Bury Me With It. I'm telling you, if you want a phenomenal read, if you want to see the world through the lens of a woman, if you want to see the world through the lens of a young Korean woman, if you want to read about sexism, feminism, racism, just anything, like a good story with so much meaning behind it, read this. Phenomenal. I mean, it's just so good. And this is Monica Kim's debut, like, book. I cannot imagine what she's gonna come out with next. I'm amazed. I think this is my favorite book of the year, maybe, if not one of my favorite books of all time. That's how good it was. It felt very fever dreamy, like Mona Awad's Bunny, and I didn't know what was happening. Was she really eating these eyeballs? And then the way it unfolds, and then there's the complete, like, love and empowerment you feel for her. You just, like, are like, you go, girl. Even though you're a little crazy, you go, girl. Then I Am Legend. I had a good time. This is another, like, original-ish vampire story. There is a movie about it, but they're more zombie-esque, but this is very vampire. It is about the last man on Earth after this vampire epidemic spreads, and he's coping with that as well as just going insane, as anybody would. And then there is a scientific approach to it, which I loved, completely understood, loved it. It actually made sense, so it was very fun. I enjoyed it. Then we have A Diary of Blood. In my heart and brain, rent-free. So totally rent-free. Wouldn't charge it a dime. I love when vampires are seductive and historical, and they go through all these time periods and watch war happen and live through all these major events. I love it. The seduction was so good. He is basically this vampire, and he's collecting these brides when they're at their lowest and controlling them, and it was a really good story. Then we have All by My Elf. Please help me forget it. Please. They're in elf costumes and they do it in a mincemeat mobile, which is like shaped like the weenie mobile. Yeah, it just wasn't good. Then we have Merry Ever After. I'm gonna say I had a good time with that one. It was small town. It was single mother, which I really enjoyed. The small town farmer falls in love with her and he incorporates her son into his life so well, so beautifully. I loved it. Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. Bury me with it. It's a novella. Bury me with it. It's very hard for me to say a novella was done so well, but it was done so well. Honestly, so well. I want a full-length novel. The amount of like longing and pining that the male main character has for the female main character was amazing. It was childhood friends to lovers. It was a best friend's brother. He was obsessed with her, head over heels. He fell first, he fell harder. It was phenomenal. Love in Other Words. I'm gonna put it in I Had a Good Time. No, you know what? I'm gonna put it in my heart and brain rent-free because it really is in my brain a lot. I really love Elliot. I love the female main character. Her name was Macy or something or other. This story just breaks your heart. The loss that she has to go through, the way she loves books. I love that. I love when main characters love books, and he loves books. And they share that love and they grow up together. Again, childhood best friends to lovers. I love it. Devastating. It would be in Bury Me With It if there wasn't the cheating trope. Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I know some people didn't like this one, but I had a good time with it. Small town, little cozy mystery romance. It was fun. Behind the Net. I had a good time. It would be in another category higher if it wasn't so long and if there wasn't so much spice that I had to start skimming at the end, which is so totally not like me, but it was just way too much. It was a good hockey romance. First Lie Wins. I'm gonna go with meh. I don't really remember much about this. I just know about a woman that is in like an agency where they place her and give her a new identity and she has to get some kind of information and like follow the task that the guy gives her every time. It was okay. The Wedding Witch. I'm gonna say I had a good time. That includes The Ex-Hex or The Kiss Curse, which are two of my favorite books. I liked Bowen. It was too insta-lovey. The going back in time didn't make any sense. The ending didn't make any sense, so I wish it was better. And we have Merriment and Mayhem. I'm gonna do I Had a Good Time with this one because I really did have a good time. It was about this girl that around the holidays, she keeps getting into these situations where she needs the fire department to save her, and the firefighter was adorable. He was pining over her. They had a cute relationship, but I didn't like the ending. Only Santa's in the Building. I had a good time. It was okay. It is just in I had a good time. It is kind of bordering on meh. I liked that the male main character was trying to raise the spirits of the female main character, and she was a comic book artist, which again I liked. Again, dealing with grief though, so it was good overall. I'm gonna go with You Again. This is going into meh. I know that they were going for a more realistic book with realistic characters that are flawed, but I just thought, like, the first time I started listening to this, I DNF'd it 5 seconds in because the female main character was that obnoxious, and I pushed myself through it, and I shouldn't have, because both of the main characters are terribly obnoxious people, and I did not really like the story. I know it was supposed to be Harry Met Sally-esque. I've never seen that, but it was just like them over time, always being in like the wrong place or wrong time, trying to be together. It was okay. We might be in a little bit different of an angle, but that's because this thing keeps crashing, so I had to do a little fixer-upper. My December Darling. I think I'm gonna put that in my heart and brain rent-free because I loved this one. They both loved Legos. She was very standoffish and cold, which I can relate to, and it was overall just a really good time. He was really sweet. Their banter was really great. Then we have The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. This one's gonna go into I Had a Good Time. It was basically like Knives Out meets Clue, and I really had a good time. It was, again, set in the author/publishing world. I loved being immersed in that, and they're basically both authors that were trying to figure out what happened to their favorite author, because she invited them along for this Christmas journey. So it was a little bit of mystery, a little bit of Christmas. It was perfect. And then my last book of the year, Nightmare Before Christmas. This one is going into lives in my brain, heart and brain, rent-free. It was between The Christmas Prince and The Prince of Halloween. It was adorable. Their tension and chemistry was so good. There was a little bit of spice and not too much. They had like traumas and real world experiences. They were dealing with some really serious stuff regarding their holidays. I thought it was just going to be a funny, silly, goofy rom-com, but it wasn't. So I was very obsessed, loved it, and that was my last book of the year. So we had 4 Bury Me With It's. These are the top tier, so I didn't expect there to be too many. We had some really great reads this year. And then we had a majority in the In My Heart and Brain Rent Free, and I had a good time. So it's always very nice to see that I enjoyed my reads and that a lot of my reads are very enjoyable. And then we had some in the meh, which were subpar, not as great as I thought they were going to be. And then we only had 4 in the Please Help Me Forget It, which is a little too many for me, but honestly not that bad. So I'm pretty happy with what we have here. That's it. Those are all 57 books that I read this year, and you can obviously see how I feel about them. We're going to be doing 25 for 2025. We're going to be doing 2025 goals. That might be all in one video. And then we're going to be doing a bookshelf redecorating, an entire physical TBR for 2025, and also going into a TBR takedown series. Very excited for that. I need to get through a lot of my physical TBR, so that's going to be very exciting. So I hope you all stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe for future content. If you want to let me know that you watched this all the way through, you can leave me a star emoji for the new year. And if you want, you can comment down below what your favorite book of 2024 was. I would love to know. Thank you for being here, and as always, happy reading and love you. Bye.